hi to the table 10. Yeah. Hi, I'm Pam. I'm a senior data scientist at Kung Fu AI. So we are an AI consulting company that delivers machine learning solutions to our clients. And I specialize in machine learning model prototyping, developing, and product analytics. And before industry, I was a cognitive neuroscientist with a PhD focused on understanding the neural mechanisms supporting human learning and memory behavior. So that's about me. I would like to know a little bit about you. So please raise your hand if you are currently a student. Okay, that's quite a few. Cool. And please raise your hand if you are now in a managerial role. Okay, that's quite a few. And finally, please raise your hand if you have gone through the education system and are now working in the industry. Wow, that's obviously everyone. Yeah, thank you. Right, so I hope this talk is for everyone here. So my talk today is about academic industry, and you might think that this is just for PhD students or master students. But I want to clarify that if you have gone through any part of our education system, you have engaged in academic training. The intensity might differ, but it is there for everyone. So today we will explore the intersection and divergence of these two worlds. And I hope to provide some practical insights for a smoother and more successful navigation for everyone involved. And let's just take a moment to think about the technical skills that are crucial to your current role. It could be coding, it could be stats, it could be presenting research. And how did your journey through education system lay the groundwork for you to acquire these abilities? For example, think back when we were young, maybe in elementary school, we were introduced to the fundamental building block, that's math. And when you were asked what is 2 multiplied by 9, the answer was 18. 19 was wrong, 17 was wrong, right? So there was a single precise answer that we were trying to master and find. And as we progress into higher education, the emphasis on identifying the correct and precise answer continue. And we are trained to understand more complicated concepts for scientifically precise answers. And moving even further into postgraduate studies, this dedication to scientific precision reached another level. So, as we reflect on this journey through our education, from those early math problems to advanced scientific research, we can see that we are fundamentally trained to value and pursue truth and knowledge with precision. But with the mindset of pursuing scientific transition, I transitioned from over 10 years as a cognitive psychology in academia to industry as a data scientist. At the beginning, I thought that securing a job offer would be the biggest challenge. However, after this change or this transition, I still feel like a foreigner in a new culture. While I am capable of my responsibilities, the execution of work and the feedback have sometimes differed from my expectations. So, why did I feel this way? So, in this talk, I want to share my personal journey and reflections on this transition now after 4 years as a data scientist. And I recognize that your own experience will be unique and different from mine, and it will be shaped by your specific academic field, education experiences, and the companies you joined. However, I hope that by sharing my learnings and how it was for me, I can offer some valuable insights and guidance. And for the employers and managers in the audience, my goal is to provide some insights into the underlying reasons behind some of academics' approaches, why they present data this way, why they do the analysis that way. And I hope to provide some effective strategies to support their successful integration into the industry landscape. And for the purpose of the discussion today, I intentionally focus on the differences I encounter But I do understand that the differences or the intensity can vary from person to person. All right, so to guide us through the discussion, first, we will explore the core principles that deeply ingrained during years of academic training. And next, I will share my personal experiences transitioning from academia to industry, focusing on the differences in communication, work habits, and expectations. And I will also share my takeaways and tips for handling this change. And finally, we will shift our perspectives to the employer, offering actionable insights and strategies for effectively understanding, onboarding, and leveraging the unique talents from the academics. All right, so we have reflected on our journey through the education system, and we can see that we are fundamentally trained to value and pursue the truth and knowledge with precision. But throughout this entire very demanding process, we can see that efficiency is often secondary to achieving robust and accurate answers. And the priority is not speed. It's about ensuring the highest possible level of methodological soundness and validity of our findings. And another crucial aspect is that academics are trained differently when they present the findings. It's about providing a complete and honest picture of our research, allowing others to build upon it and interpret it in a necessary and correct context. So just think about that. Like, after investing so much time and effort, one of the biggest emphasis is still on what we don't know and the potential weakness in our research. So you may hear academics using tentative language like, we suspect, the data indicate, or the data suggest. So it is to reflect the probabilistic nature of scientific finding. It is never absolute certain. And academics are also trained to describe the study's constraints, like what we cannot control or what are the confounding factors. So in general, academics are trained to be very cautious. And however, these academic strengths could sometimes become like unexpected challenges or cause discomfort in the business world. So my academic training favored like complex conditional statements and acknowledged uncertainties in my research. So when I present data or my results, I would say something like this. I would say, this analysis is based on a sample randomly selected from July to August 2024 from active users in the United States, and active user is defined as XYZ. And this whole lot of things often very confuse a lot of people in industry. Stakeholders don't know what does that mean? Does that mean I cannot use the conclusion? Does that mean the conclusion only apply to this specific group? So all these nuances usually confuse people and could make me like be perceived as less confident or less trustworthy. And this is especially challenging for women who may, like we all already tend to be less confident or less comfortable to make bold statements. And this culture gap also impact my work habits. So I frequently invested extra hours validating results across different data sets or different methods. And this dedication does earn trust and appreciation from the team and stakeholder. But I often feel like I do this extra work just for my own science conscious or my own curiosity. It doesn't really move the business or have any impact. So these persistent feelings of confusion highlighted the importance of business efficiency. So I learned that in industry, value is primarily determined by business efficiency rather than scientific precision. And business efficiency is how a company utilizes its resources to maximize outputs and minimize costs. And from a data-related IC person, to maximize business efficiency means our goal is to use just enough effort to make analytical conclusions that support impactful business decisions. And this idea may feel uncomfortable, at least at the beginning, I feel uncomfortable. But through my experiences, I now understand more about these conflicting feelings and why it is important. Because ultimately, the goal is to effectively and efficiently generate actionable insights and fulfill business needs or stakeholder needs. The goal is not necessarily to produce the most scientifically robust answer. So, if a more complex or time consuming analysis or models won't actually change or help this decision or stakeholder actions, then these analyses simply not helpful. And it consumes valuable resources like your time and your talent without adding any additional impact. So if you agree with this concept, then business efficiency should become the guiding principle for you to make your work decisions, from goal alignment, product selection, to time allocation. So the crucial learning for me became understanding where the rigor and depth of academic training intersected with the practical needs of the business. So recognize that your rigorous training is a powerful asset, but its application must be strategically aligned with the company's goals and priorities. So first, I would encourage you to focus on generating actionable insights, not just fulfilling your curiosity or answering why. If you want to answer curiosity or why, it has to associate with some actionable plans, or it has to be able to fulfill some stakeholder needs. And companies value your business interpretation in addition to your analytical skills. So your ability to translate your complex findings into strategic recommendations and offer informed opinions relevant to the business goal is very important. Finally, learn to calibrate the necessary depth of the analysis for each project. So try to develop the judgment to know when good enough is sufficient to support a business decision, and when in-depth investigation is actually very important and necessary. So you should understand when and how to apply each approach to generate impactful results. So overall, your unique perspectives, grounded in rigorous training, but applied with business acumen, is what makes you a valuable asset. And now let's shift our focus to the employers and managers. And we all know that academics bring in a lot of critical values to your team and your organization. But these strengths don't necessarily come like align with business needs. And I identify a few areas to focus on. First is autonomy and vision. So academics are typically self-driven problem solver with minimum instructions. But the key consideration here is that they may need time to adjust to a more like regulated environment with limited independent solutions. So for example, companies' data may have security issues that certain analysis just couldn't be done, or a certain type of analysis or data you just won't have access to. Or you cannot just like download random packages to install in the company internal tools, or certain analysis has to have legal approval. So providing clarity on what's the boundaries and expectations while still allowing space for their initiative can be a key. And the second area is navigating ambiguity. So academic research is inherently vague and ambiguous. So academics are trained to navigate research, like ambiguous research question. But the consideration here is that ambiguous business challenge can be answered by various ways. But the academics needs to know to select the way that will help business and generate business impact. Academics are also not trained to inherently understand stakeholder needs. So helping stakeholders articulate their needs and then figuring out what data insights or what kind of models or data results can generally inform their decisions is essential. And finally, it's logical reasoning. the whole education system we typically gone through is trained us to be have critical thinking and logical reasoning, and we are trying to identify logical gaps. But the potential consideration here is that they may sometimes academics may sometimes over investigate when the big picture is initially unclear. For example, academic may stuck on definition of certain metrics or be confused by change of business context over the years. So it is really critical to guide them, to tell them how to operate under some level of logical uncertainties, and encourage them to prioritize based on the potential business impact, even with incomplete information, can be very valuable directions for them. So here are a few things you can look out for. First is explicitly discuss business efficiency. So don't just assume that it's an intuitive concept, because in academia we treat scientific precision as the goal that we should achieve. So not necessarily the concept of business efficiency. So clearly define what impacts should look like for specific projects and emphasize on the importance of aligning your analytical rigor with the realistic timelines could be very important. And second, be alert for rabbit holes. So academics are naturally very curious and driven by a desire for deep understanding. And this is a strength, but sometimes lead to getting lost in exploration that don't necessarily or directly contribute to business goal. So manager can help them maintain focus on the ROI of their analysis and steer them back when they venture too far. And finally, focus on the data-driven business storytelling. So encourage them to tailor their communication to different functions within the company. So academics may need time to understand what different teams need for the same analysis. Academics are trained to present their results to like the scientific community or different functions in the scientific communities, but they are not used to present to like different functions of a business or a companies, like from finance team to marketing teams. So help them translate their complex analysis into compelling narratives that highlight the business implication for those different functions could be critical. And the ultimate goal is to empower academics to develop their own internal business calibration system. So they should know how to maximize their business impact by delivering the right insights in the right way and to the right audience. So this has been my journey. I believe we can apply academic strengths and the scientific rigor to the result-oriented of the business world. And by fostering this very collaborative environment and guiding academics to navigate the nuances of the business, companies can unlock their potential and academics can find a more comfortable environment to contribute their talents and fully utilize their abilities and their skills. And that's it. Thank you.